Part 4 of our Sci-Fi Aliens Zentangle series is about to begin. We're going to draw today and learn the Tangle Pypz. P-Y-P-Z. Pypz. Let's get drawing. Now, Pypz is, just as the name would tell you, is designed to look like a bunch of pipes that are intertwined together and layered and so forth, and it just creates a neat effect for that sort of either mechanical or science fiction-y look. Now what I'm doing here, there's several ways that you can go about drawing this tangle based on what look you're going for, but you want to create shapes that can then be turned into 3 dimensions by creating little lines like this. So you see what I did with the initial shapes. Now I'm just connecting those corners, and we can add little details into these pieces, you know, maybe little black vents that are connected here. Maybe we have some lines that give the impression of a gentle slope to that. Maybe we add some little curved lines that indicate to us that this is some sort of a coiled tube or a pipe that has those indentations in it. Simple. And now we can add maybe a couple additional details on these. Alright, and now we add another one. This time we're going to do a curve that goes here, goes behind, comes out over there. This one, just a big long tube. And I'm going to add those little curved lines so there's something of interest here. Maybe this is full of wires or cables inside of it. Whatever your imagination wants to think about. But we're just drawing that. Now let's draw, this comes in, goes up. We're going to draw a big shape like that. Maybe it's got another little box right here. So you'll see what happens here. I'm just sort of mirroring these bumps that I place, just randomly place here, so that I can have some kind of a 3-dimensional starting point for these shapes. And let's put like a little hatch in this one. And let's even pretend that it's open. So then we'll ink this in the background here, into that dark space that we can't see. I'm using such a tiny point on my pen, it takes a long time to shade this in. Or, I'm sorry, to ink this in. And then let's create something here. Just some variety to our shape. Let's add a few little lines here too. Just like that. Now we'll draw a couple more. We got to have one coming in from the top. That must be supplying our source of power here to somewhere else in our little science fiction world. So that's coming down there, and let's draw this, assuming we're looking at it kind of like that. And this one has a little bolts that are holding together some kind of hatches there. And again, I think I'm going to put those curves. I just like that look in the tubing. It makes it look a little more interesting, at least in my opinion. Let's draw another little hatch that's open on this conduit. Alright, and let's just do a couple more so we can get this idea. Let's do one that comes into a junction of two pipes. So I'm drawing this one a little bit differently, as you can see. That one goes from two sources rather, down to one. There we go. So you get the idea. You just draw pipes and tubes until your heart is content, until your drawing is done, and at least in your mind that it's completed, and there's nothing left to add. Now you can also, everywhere that you see the white that isn't a pipe, you could ink that in black, and it makes it seem like all of these are recessed back into some dark cubby hole. And that's what normally I like to do, but just so you can see what we've been drawing, I'm going to leave it like this. But let's add a little shading. So again, I'm going to add, just as we've done with some of these other tangles that we're learning in this series, I'm just going to add some shadow or shading to one side of these shapes, just to help, again, to give it that depth or dimension. Zentangle and Zentangle Inspired Art is purposely, intentionally very simple. We want to make it accessible to everyone, but also fun. Not everyone has the time, the desire to sit down and, spend 300 hours on a hyper-realistic drawing. Now, the people who do that, that's awesome. There are times when I do much more involved, lengthy, time-consuming drawings. And that's very rewarding in and of itself. But it's just not always the desire, even for those people who enjoy that sort of thing. And it's not always as fun or accessible for people who aren't professional artists with lots and lots of training and skills and years of experience and so on. So these sorts of drawings just become accessible to the so-called masses, as they say. And it just lets us enjoy the creative process in a much simpler, straightforward, and immediately rewarding way, because we get the payoff. Well, that's it for this one. Number 4 in our series, Pypz.